So, you know how the death of Renee Good, the death of Alex Pretty, the death of 180 schoolgirls in Iran, you want to know how they came to be? Well, read the title. If you disagree, mind you, because Donald Trump literally abolished the First Amendment. He literally said, oh, we will target anyone who disagrees with me. So, if you disagree with Donald J. Trump, with what he says, if you criticize what Donald J. Trump says, whatever is false, and you criticize it, right? You are deemed a terrorist. You are deemed a treason. You are deemed treason, and you should be locked up for treason. So, the Bible says that they will offer you up to tribulation and kill you, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. I wonder why. Maybe because Lorenzo Salgato was more Christian than these ICE people. So ICE deliberately went out of their way to say, Lorenzo Salgato isn't white. Let's kill him. Oh, he learned about Jesus. He learned about the true meaning of what Jesus did for us. Let's kill him. But you're okay with that, right? You're okay with dehumanizing brown people. You're okay with dehumanizing quadriplegics. You're okay with dehumanizing autistic people. But when someone calls you out for your bullshit, that's when you get pissed. That's when you start saying, "Oh, but the brown people, they're the ones messing me." No, they weren't. They didn't mess you up. They didn't. Again, they will offer you up to tribulation, and they will kill you, and then you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. That was the warning Jesus said before his crucifixion. He literally said it to his disciples. ICE has shot another unarmed civilian, all because they weren't white. What do you think Donald Trump ran on? I had a random person come to my stream. Hold on, guys. I had a random person come to my stream, right? And they said, and I quote, "The world is shit. We can't do anything to fix that. You can't, but I can. Why do you think I do these videos? Why do you think I call out the atrocities of the entire fucking planet? Because it's my duty as a person of faith." And you know what he said? He said, "I'd rather be buried in the grave. I'd rather pray in the grave." See, he doesn't care who he demonizes, as long as he gets profit out of it. And then he goes on to say the N-word to someone who, mind you, is non-racist, by the way. Mind you, I'm not racist. But he said the N-word to me. Someone who's white, someone who voted for Kamala Harris, for universal health care, someone who actually cares about the people, not about the country. See, I looked at Kitty Paquita's YouTube videos, right? Where she's done multiple cases of, Aiden the Liger, right? Aiden the Liger, Modern Sonic, Tom the Dog, people who have been in her Discord server, right? Right? So if I go to Kitty Paquita's, Kitty Paquita stories, right? If I go to her videos, right? You'll see videos of Portal Tube TV case, Koshiba Kudo-kun case, Timothy case, Tom the dog case, Maya Archives, Uni, Fleetway Supersonics case, Autumn Shenanigans, Kyle Afton, Aiden the Pedal Liger, Vetera the Pedal Rabbit, Keith Mario, Neko case, the Gia case, the Pedophile Modern Sonic case, Aiden case, Ruby Rose Pedal case, Tessa case, Kira case, but nothing about Kitty Bakita case. Nothing about how her channel literally says this channel does not condone what? Cyber stalking and cyberbullying. Yet when I looked at one of her videos, didn't one of her friends say, "Hey, you want to talk about IP grabbing? Is this your new address?" That doesn't seem like cyber stalker to me, right? Because it doesn't affect you, right? Hey, if you want to talk about cyber stalking, is this cyber stalking? Me making alternate accounts after accounts after accounts just to go to your channel and bully you face to face? Me having people come after you, right? Mind you, if you go to Kit Pack Stories, right, which is her literal YouTube name, it would say this, okay? Hello everyone, your lovely Kitty here with another story for you. Whether you are new to this library or have been an old member, your presence brings delight to this book of life. Mind you, that's a direct mocking of the Lamb's Book of Life from Jesus Christ himself. That is a direct mocking of the Book of Life, by the way. My stories mostly cover people who are a danger to society and do or have done damage to various communities, especially ones focused on children or child audiences. If many of platforms like YouTube refuse to do anything about these dangerous people, then we will. This channel does not condone hate speech, harassment, which, by the way, one of her friends in her Universe Cross Discord server, which, by the way, literally said, and I quote, "Hey, you want to talk about IP grabbing? Is this your new address?" Doesn't that sound like harassment? Witch hunting, which, by the way, you have countless and countless of people go after certain people. Mind you, Kitty Paquita, just curious, you're Christian, right? Didn't Jesus say that if you forgive your enemies, you're supposed to forgive your enemies, right? Why haven't you forgive people that you've done cases on? Like Aiden. Why haven't you forgiven them? Didn't Jesus say, "Oh, if you forgive others for their transgressions against you, then your Father will forgive you"? Why are you gossiping about Aiden? Why are you gossiping about Aiden the Liger? Or I don't know, Vetera or Neko? Why aren't you gossiping about yourself? Oh, because you want to blame other people for your shitty life, right? You want to blame other people for your shitty problems. That's why I don't see you posting a lot more on YouTube, because you don't give a fuck. You don't give two shits, right? You don't give two shits on what you do. You just want to make content, right? You don't care about value. You care about quantity. All for a fucking dollar. That's what you fucking care about, right? Cyber stalking and cyberbullying. Our purpose is spreading awareness of the dangerous people so we can take action and make the world a better place. Why haven't you posted about Alex Preddy or Renee Good if you want to, quote unquote, take action? Why haven't you posted about the Yuji Itadori cosplayer? Oh, that's right, because you're triggered. Because someone is doing your fucking job you failed to fucking start as a predator catcher. Someone already beat you to the punch. Someone already did your dirty job. So I don't want to hear shit that, "Oh, I'm a professional predator catcher," when someone already beat your ass to the fucking punch. You're not no predator catcher. You're a modern day Pharisee. You don't love God. You play God. So again, why don't I see videos talking about you? Why don't you post videos about you, Kitty? Why don't you post videos about you? About how you didn't want to rent to black people. About how you are okay with voting for an adjudicated rapist in the White House through your silence. About how your church is okay with not saying the name of a racist podcaster. Why don't you make a video about that? Why don't you make a video about that? Why don't you? Why don't you, people? Why don't you, Kitty Paquito? Oh, because you're not willing to be uncomfortable. You're willing to sleep in a bed filled with rocks, called tax fraud, called rape, called fake news. But you're not willing to sleep in a bed called accountability. Go ask a random Muslim if this country has been great for them. Go ask a random Asian person. Has this country benefited them? You don't love God. You play God, Kitty Paquita. You weren't created in the image of God. You were created in the image of Satan. You love the world more than you love God. See, I don't know PortalTube or Koshiba Kudo-kun or Timothy or Tom the Dog or Maya or Uni or Autumn or Kyle or Aiden or Vetera or Keith or Neko or Modern Sonic or Adon or Ruby Rose or Tessa. I don't know none of these people. But I cared. I cared about them. Tessa is like as if I had a little sister. Ruby Rose is like as if I had a mom. Adon is like as if I had a big brother. That is what loving thy neighbor as thyself is. Kitty Paquita, just curious. At church, weren't you taught Leviticus chapter 19, verse 33? The foreigner. What does that mean? What does foreigner mean? Now, let me take you on a Biblistic journey. Okay? Let me take you on a Biblistic journey. All right? Since you are claimed to be Christian. Alexa, what does foreigner mean?
Foreigner is usually defined as a person not native to or naturalized in the country or jurisdiction under consideration, alien. For more, ask me to give you more definitions for foreigner.
Alexa, does foreigner mean immigrant? Doesn't want to answer it because it's the truth. Doesn't want to answer it. For the foreigner, aka for the immigrant that comes from a different country who lives among you, must be treated as if they were one of your native born. Love thy neighbors as thyself, for you yourselves were born out from the midst of Egypt. So just curious, Kitty Paquita, have you forgiven Kira for what she did to you? Because the Bible says, if you forgive others for their transgressions against you, then your Father in heaven will forgive you. But if you don't forgive others for their transgressions against you, then your Father in heaven won't forgive you. It was almost like as if Jesus warned you about loving your neighbor. It was almost as if Jesus warned you about being deceived. But you chose to not listen, right? But yet you listened to your pastor, who couldn't say the name of a racist podcaster. That's why you didn't left church. But you left church because your pastor wouldn't want to be uncomfortable. That's why God didn't want you at that church. That's why God didn't want you at that church. Because he knew you didn't care about the value of a stranger. You cared about the quantity of a stranger. Oh, Alex Pretty died? Sorry, that's just not my problem. Can we not talk about that in our Discord servers? I don't want to make my predator catching fan base look upset. But yet when it's one of your people, when it's one of your skin color, which is white, that's when you get triggered, right? But when it's a brown person coming from Mexico, you have every right to dehumanize, right? Mind you, modern Sonic, aka Charles, is black. But you have every right to dehumanize him, right? Because he's not your skin color. And that is the reason why we are here in this country. It's not about the price of eggs or the price of gas. It's about white supremacy. It's about maintaining the white male patriarchy. Love. What did Jesus say that the 2 commandments are? Mind you, Jesus gave us 2 commandments. Mind you, there was one person that literally said, what is the greatest commandment of all? Jesus said 2 of them. One is what? Love the Lord with all your heart, with all your mind, and what? With all your soul, right? What is the second one? Love your neighbor as yourself. So again, love your neighbor as yourself. Huh. I wonder, why didn't you love Modern Sonic as your neighbor? Oh, that's right, because he wasn't your skin color. Why is it that you talk about these people, but yet you don't want to talk about how you voted for an adjudicated rapist in the White House? How you voted in your silence about wanting to rent to black people? Just curious, kitty. Just curious. As a matter of fact, let's hear this book of life that Kitty Paquita decided to mock. Let's play this out. Let's see this little shabab of hers. Let's see this. Okay? Let's see this. Fucking shit intro for all I know. That this is literally the shittest intro. Mind you. Now, again, Kitty Paquita said, and I quote, this channel doesn't condone witch hunting, cyberbullying, and cyberstalking, right? Let's hear this clip.
Situation where he traumatized Game Freak and Nico and did not apologize, instead talking crap behind the backs in front of me.
I mean, I've seen that.
Those are her true colors.
Now watch this. Firestar Neo, Soldier 11, apparently shows up, right? Mind you, her channel says this channel does not condone witch hunting, cyberbullying, and cyberstalking, right?
Oh, yes, lady, yeah.
Alright? Watch this. Kitty Paquita, want to prove to me that you're Christian again?
Yeah, by the way, you want to talk about IP grabbing? Is this your new address?
Want to prove to me that you love God? Want to prove to me that you love the Bible more than you love the world? Want to prove to me that you care about your neighbors? By your fruits shall ye be judged. Now, again, watch what happens again.
Oh, and going to the other V7 just sent them.
Now look. Now look at this. This is Kira.
It's my fault, and she's going to be grounding me.
That's because it is your fault for what you did.
You know what? I'm not getting.
Mind you, Kira didn't want to get involved. Mind you, she's an autistic person. Mind you, Kira is autistic. Kitty Paquita wants to dehumanize and talk about autistic people. So here you go.
Be involved in this shit.
What the fuck? Alright. If y'all are gonna fucking fight,
That's
Out
why
of
she
here.
tried to IP grab me.
Because you bullied me.
No, I did not.
Shut the fuck up, Kitty Paquita. You bullied plenty of fucking people. I don't want to hear. Oh, I did not. You just want to shit on brown people. You want to shit on white people. You want to shit on brown people. You want to shit on autistic people. You want to do it because you care about yourself, not about value. And that is the reason why not many people want to see Kitty Paquita's videos, or not many people want to watch them, because all Kitty Paquita talks about is quantity. A fucking dollar. Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm poor. You know, my name's Bloody Kitty on Discord. My Discord server's name is called Universe Cross. If you want to join my Discord server, you can, but please don't talk about politics. Please don't talk about Renee Good or Alex Preddy in my Discord server. Please, I don't want to get involved with, ice engines and all that stuff because it really triggers me. Well, here's the thing, Kitty Paquita. That's called reality. Stuck it up, Buttercup. Because you never loved God. You played him. See, here's the difference. Unlike you, Kitty Paquita, I'm actually a person of faith. You want to know why? Because I relied more on Jesus than you could ever have. I relied on Jesus, and I relied on him more than what you could have had. Here's the thing, Kitty Paquita. I relied more on Jesus than you could ever had. And your name is Bloody Kitty, yet you say you're a Christian. Now, mind you, watch how Kitty Paquita becomes the white victim. Watch.
if y'all are gonna fucking fight,
Watch.
That's
Out
why
of
she tried
here.
to IP grab me.
Because you bullied me.
No, I did not.
See? She said, no, I did not bully you. Yes, the fuck you did. You just wanted to be the white victim. You wanted to be the white victim because you cannot sacrifice your own personal comfort for a stranger. And that's why you have people in your Discord server going after a single person. Because isn't that what witch hunting is? Curious, Kitty Paquita, curious. Why is it that you don't love your neighbor, yet you say you believe in God? Now let's go. Let's continue the video.
I'm not listening.
I'm sorry she had to lie like this.
See, at least the local moderator knows about this. At least he's decent. But unlike Kitty Paquita and all these other people that want to fucking dehumanize people, that's fucking crazy.
I am not putting up with anyone's shit tonight. I am too fucking tired, and the next person that's is gonna get their fucking ass kicked. I am done.
Facts. It's patriotism. I don't know who this person is. The local moderator or whatever his name is, or I don't know his name is. But that is patriotism. What Kitty Paquita's done is her being a whore to capitalism. She only cares about money. That's why she loves dehumanizing people. She loves dehumanizing the quadriplegics or the brown people. She loves dehumanizing people because she doesn't care about value. She cares about quantity. And that is the reason why we have a fascist, authoritarian president known as Donald J. Trump in this country. Because of people like Kitty Paquita and Sped Noodles who vote for him in their silence because they didn't want to be uncomfortable for a stranger. You know who I voted for? Kamala Harris. Why? Because 340 million Americans would have been bowing at Mount Calvary in front of the cross, asking for forgiveness from Jesus right about now. But hey, in Kitty Paquita's case, thoughts and prayers, right? I am so sorry for that sneeze. But yeah, thoughts and prayers, right? Thoughts and prayers? Thoughts and prayers? But when it comes to someone like Lorenzo Salgato, who isn't white, who's Puerto Rican, who is a father of 3, oh, he's a son of a bitch, right? Because he's not patriotic, right? Fuck you. Fuck off. Like, obviously, fuck off. You're not a patriot, Kitty Paquita, and you never will be. A patriot who is someone who stands up out of their comfort zone and calls out the fucking atrocities of the entire fucking planet. That is what patriotism is. You only care about the American exceptionalism. That, I can't afford to go on a general strike, but he promised me money. Oh, I can't afford to sacrifice my personal comfort for a stranger, but Trump promised me money. That's all you've ever cared about, Kitty Paquita. That's all you ever cared about. I am sick and tired of people like you who pretend that they say, oh, well, I didn't bully you, all because they want to be the white victim. And that is the reason why we are here as a country. 77 million idiots decided that it would be okay for them in their silence to vote for an adjudicated rapist. It's not that they were ineligible to vote. It's not that they couldn't vote. Their silence made Trump win the election. Kitty Paquita's silence made Trump win the election. Vambrick's silence made him win the election. And 77 million idiots in their silence made Trump win the election. Not a single voice about the Black Death. Not a single voice about the Boston Tea Party. Not a single damn voice about the fucking American Revolution. And now you have people outside at night with whistles and people shouting, ICE is coming. ICE is coming. Welcome to the American Revolution 2.0. Because people would rather stay alone in their silence than rather sacrifice their personal comfort for a stranger. In as much as Kitty Paquita did not talk about Alex Preddy or Renee Good in their Discord server, they did not talk about Jesus. And that is the reason why America is doomed to fall. This is not a great Christian nation. If it was, guess where we would be? At Mount Calvary right about now, if Kamala Harris was president. But y'all don't want that, because y'all never cared about the cross to begin with. Y'all never cared. Kitty Paquita never cared about the cross to begin with. She never truly was a Christian. She was just a white victim. So, just curious, Kitty Paquita, because I remember you talking to me about climate change. Why did Paul the Apostle write the book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 19 and 20? I will show wonders. Why is it that the Apostle Paul wrote in the book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 19 to 20, where it says, oh, I will show signs from the earth beneath and wonders in the heavens above, pillars of fire, vapors and smoke, the sun shall be turned into darkness, as the moon to blood, before the great and notable day the Lord come. And yet you're telling me that the solar eclipse and lunar eclipse was made from science. No, the fuck it wasn't. It was made from God. See, that's the difficulty with you people. You love to prove that God is real. How? How is he real? Prove it to me. Prove it to me. Have you been there? Have you seen him in person? What was his shoes? What was his hair color? What was his eyes color? Did he have a beard? What color of clothing did he wear? Did you see him in person? Do I believe in Jesus? Yes, I believe in him. But do I see him? No, because he's already dead. He's already up to heaven already. So how can we see him? How can we see him? Oh, that's right, omnipresence. So don't talk to me as if you know God. No, you don't. You know Satan. Because you and Satan have a lot in common more than you have with God. Both of you believe in Jesus, yet neither one of you follow him. So you get mad when a predator catcher beats you to the punch with a Yuji Itadori cosplayer giving belt to ass to these child predators. But you're okay of demonizing brown people. That is the American exceptionalism. That, oh, it's the brown people for my shitty life. Ooh, it's the quadriplegics for my shitty life. Ooh, it's the autistic people for my shitty life. You want to blame other people, but don't want to blame yourself. So shut the fuck up. How about you make a case about you? About how you're judging people based on color, based on religion, based on race. How about you make a video about your case? How you couldn't talk to your mom and dad on why they voted for an adjudicated rapist in their silence. What about talking about you? How you are okay with a authoritarian fascist known as Donald J. Trump bombing 187 schoolgirls in Iran, but you're not okay about a Yuji Itadori cosplayer giving belt to ass to these predators. How about you make a case about that? But you don't want to, because you don't want to sacrifice your own personal comfort for a stranger. In as much as you, Kitty Paquita, did not talk about Alex Pretty or Renee Good in your Discord servers, you did not talk about Jesus. And that is the reason why I do this. That's the reason why my name means in Hebrew, Jesus is salvation. Because I am a literal reminder of their salvation. I am a literal reminder of why Jesus came down and healed the sick and healed the blind. Because he cares about value. He doesn't care about quantity. He doesn't care about the country of Israel. He doesn't care about the country. He cares about the people. The same way I care about the people, not about the country. You better wake up. You better find Jesus soon. Because when I'm gone, when I'm out of here, when I'm in the rapture, don't blame God that you were left behind. Don't blame God that you weren't chosen. Don't blame God that you chose to be in your silence voting for an adjudicated rapist. Don't blame God. Blame yourself. You have nobody to blame but yourself. So, again, the same 77 million idiots that voted for Trump is the same 77 million idiots that will vote for the Antichrist. Have yourselves a white day. And Kitty Paquita, keep demonizing brown people, because that's exactly who you are. You love being a schadenfreude. You love the suffering of others, not caring about others. You love the suffering of other people. You don't care about the value. You care about the quantity. So keep on making videos for a fucking dollar. Watch when Judgment Day happens. Have a white day.